Bethesda Starfield is one of the most unique gaming experiences of all time. It is neither the best space game, nor is it the worst. It is neither the best RPG, nor is it the worst. It is neither the best action-adventure game, nor is it the worst. It is currently in one of the most middling positions I have ever seen a video game be in of all time. It is the perfect encapsulation of mediocre, and even saying this, I must admit I am still a huge fan, and it saddens me because of the immense amount of wasted potential that Bethesda and subsequently Microsoft have left on the table currently with Starfield. I feel that for such a middling game, it has such good bones that just need a little more meat and vascularity and muscles to be put on top for it to be a truly excellent gaming experience that gamers from all spectrums to enjoy. Most recently, Bethesda has put out some patches and added in some additional things with the Shattered Space DLC to try to improve the overall experience. But I think that we can go a step further and provide some ideas for things that will do even more to make the game more appealing for gamers. So to start, I'm actually going to roll the first 4 points that I had into one. The changes that I think that should be made are more impactful exploration, better optimization for loading screens, more dynamic and spontaneous missions, and more cities and inhabited planets. I think one of the biggest issues that Starfield has is something that plagued No Man's Sky in the beginning. There is far too much open area and not enough to do in it. It's the quintessential issue of as wide as the ocean and as deep as a puddle. They've recently, with one of the biggest, most recent patches, added in a vehicle for you to traverse the planets. But the issue with that vehicle was, where am I going? There's no value in traversing the planets any faster when there's nothing to see. There aren't that many interesting points of interest or spontaneous missions that pop up or just random character interactions to make it worthwhile. And I think they need to add that in across the board in every area and every aspect of the game. I think if you're flying through space, there needs to have far more random events that happen where you can be pushed down a new quest line to do something interesting to incentivize you to just take trips through space, or things that pop up when you're on planets to incentivize landing at random planets and exploring and possibly finding a new quest line, a new companion, or something interesting to do. Because as it sits now, the only reason you go to different planets is to get resources that you bring back to your home base at a different planet, or you just set up a mining facility that gets those resources for you on that planet. There's just no real incentive to explore currently. And where the loading screens and open cities come in is that when you're going to these other planets, you're constantly hit by loading screens. Just the most insufferable long loading screens that are a Bethesda staple.
The music is amazing!
A game that I enjoy that unfortunately did not get a lot of love is Star Wars Outlaws. And I'm not trying to sell people on that game, but I think one thing that they did extremely well was the way they transitioned and hid the loading screens for space travel. In Starfield, it's just this cutscene that plays and you go into space and then the loading screen still pops up afterwards. But in Star Wars Outlaws, it's really cool because you see the whole launch sequence of Kay Vess starting her ship, leaving the planet, entering the atmosphere, and then eventually getting into space. You know it's a loading screen, but it's far more interactive and interesting to see as opposed to just a spinning wheel with tips.
Hi, Andy 5. Time to move, Andy 5.
Auxiliary engines online.
Now, I understand when you're creating such a large game, you do need to load and unload a lot of assets. So to make it simpler, I would suggest making the loading screens more interesting. You don't have to completely do without the load, but give us something to do, give us something to see. I think a cool change that could be made is there's a mission during the Smuggling Pirates quest line where the ship itself is being flown by an NPC, and you can look outside of the ship and see yourself traversing through space. I think if you're allowed to set a destination and get up and go around the ship and do things and craft things and upgrade weapons and communicate with NPCs, your companions, or just do something else, I think that will alleviate a lot of the boredom that comes from just looking at a loading screen. We don't need to see the tips all the time. We know what the things do in game. We don't need these miscellaneous tips and tricks and lore and all that nonsense. That also leads me to another point. I think the companions need to be made more useful. An issue that I found is you cannot ask your companions to do anything interesting at all. You can't set them to do something specific in ship, like have them constantly upgrading things or utilizing resources or organizing things. They just meander around your ship and they have no true purpose on your ship. You can't ask them to do things when you go to locations. An interesting thing that companions were able to do in Fallout 4 is that they all had specific skills and attributes that they were good at, and you could ask them to do those things for you if you didn't have that specific skill set. So a companion like Kate was really good at lockpicking, and if your lockpicking skill wasn't that high, you could then direct her to lockpick something and she would be more successful at it.
Go check that out.
No problem.
Let's do it. I'll give it a try. Jam! Broke up hit. I'll try again. Oh, for the love of stupid lock. So close. I'm getting rusty. There you go. Nothing to it.
Or you can ask other companions to hack into other systems, like Nick or Piper. I thought that was a really cool feature that they just completely didn't put in Starfield for some reason, which makes your companions feel a lot more useless and kind of just like set dressing as opposed to actual companions. In addition to that, I think it would be cool to have pets. I think pets getting added into the game would be very fun. It's strange that the only animals we see in the game are hostile. Why not have a dog or a cat, or you can put a fucking fish tank on your ship, or some of the other, fauna and creatures that are on planet that you could have on your ship as well. Even if it's something large and crazy, maybe you can put it into a cage as an exotic animal. I think that would be interesting to have and interact with, to make your ship feel more like a home base, or even put it in one of your actual homes that you've created. I think the Hearthfire DLC from Skyrim is something that can inspire a lot of changes in terms of customization, having these pre-built customization options built in to where you can build a home or upgrade your ship in that fashion, or add a bunch of things to your ship. Just have those pre-built things that you can go and purchase, and have a home that you can set up maybe anywhere on the planet, or any planet that you're on, or even some of the already established locations, and make it a little bit easier to customize those things as well. I think a large overhaul that needs to happen is with the companion system in general. The fact that you can't have any companion that has a fleshed out storyline that isn't a part of the main Starfield organization is a huge flaw. If you think about just their most recent games, like Skyrim and Fallout 4, you can have companions from all walks of life. You can have a companion from the Dark Brotherhood, you can have a companion from the Companions, you can have a Thieves Guild companion, you can have a College of Winterhold companion. There are a bunch of other miscellaneous companions scattered throughout the map that are from completely different factions. In Fallout, they all react differently to the kinds of things you do when they're from all these different factions. Preston versus Piper versus Kate versus Nick. There's so many different factions, but in Starfield, all of your main companions that have fleshed out storylines are from the main faction. So it doesn't let you go down any other path, because they all kind of have the same morality. Slightly different, Andrea is kind of okay with you being more cruel and thievery, but it's not enough to truly impact the decisions that you make in game. It would have been nice when you were going through the space pirate storyline to be able to completely be an evil character and have evil companions through that storyline, and actually be able to hang out with them more. I think there are a huge missed opportunity with that. I also think it's really unfortunate that there are only like 3 major cities that are important in the game. There's Aquila, there's Neon, and then there's New Atlantis. There should be far more interesting cities that you can go to, or at least interesting locations that you can go to. It's super bizarre that we only really have those 3 locations. Every other made location is not that interesting. Paradiso is not that interesting. The Keys not that interesting. Sidonia is not that interesting. New Atlantis, Aquila, and Neon are the only real locations, which I say again, feels like such a step back from Skyrim. There are multiple towns you can go to in Skyrim with a lot of fleshed out storylines. Finally, minor spoiler for the ending, but I feel like if you go through the Unity, you should have the option to keep most of your stuff. I personally have not gone through the Unity in my main save file because I have too much cool shit that I don't want to lose. I get that you're basically going to an all new universe, and in that alternate universe, things can be completely different. But I like my shit. I worked hard on making my ship. I worked hard on earning all my credits. I worked hard on customizing my apartment in New Atlantis. Let me keep some of my stuff. I don't even have to keep it in the exact order that it's set in. Except for my ship. I think you should just be able to take your ship as is. But at least let me keep my guns. I got a lot of cool shit that I've been exploring for. But those are all of my ideas. Overall, I do have faith in Starfield. I think that there's a lot of potential. And I think this game can be great. And I really, really want people to get into this game and enjoy it. Would I suggest someone get into it now? Maybe not. But if Bethesda takes the time to overhaul this game and make that turnaround like Cyberpunk 2077, like No Man's Sky, I genuinely believe it could have the long-term success that Skyrim had, and we don't have to push it to the side and just add all these things into a potential sequel. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Behave yourself.